Hello to everyone who will be watching this now or possibly in the future. Hope you all are doing well. In today's video, I wanted to talk about my experience, as you can see in the title, with spirituality. I think I've mentioned in my past videos, I've made 3 so far, and in one of them I think I mentioned that my spiritual faith is one of the reasons how I was able to kind of come out of both cults of a Catholic environment and also a radical left environment. So I wanted to basically talk about my spiritual experience and story. Disclaimer, there are different people in the world who have different experiences with spirituality, so I'm not at all saying that mine is the correct one, that you have to follow mine. Even if you have the same spiritual practice that I do, everyone has different experiences. So this is just my experience, what I've seen, felt and experienced in general. So may that with you. So I've mentioned, like I say in a video, that I was in a Catholic environment that I was not a fan of in senior school, and then before that I was in a Christian primary school environment, which I personally didn't have a problem with because we didn't read the Bible a lot. We just sung hymns and attended assembly, which from my memory has always been positive and fun. So I never felt anything in church. I've never felt God. But because at the time it was all good stuff that I was hearing, there was no complaints about God that I can come up with. It wasn't until I went to senior school then I had many complaints, which were valid. I want to make it clear that if there are any Catholics here, I do not mean to offend anyone. I believe in religious freedom, and I believe in freedom of expression, and I believe in free speech. So I don't believe that an organisation has the right to impose their values on others, but then at the same time, I, as someone who is not religious, doesn't have the right to jump down a religious person's throat and talk about God isn't real, really rare. That's not my place. It's okay to have conversations about it with people that you already know, but people that you don't know, everyone needs to know their place in this world. So, with that being said, I wish that what I experienced in primary was very similar to what I experienced in senior to a certain extent, but then at the same time I'm glad that I went through it, because then it made me realise what a cult situation was. So in some ways I wish it was slightly better, but then in other ways I wish that it wasn't, because it made me see through the eyes. So I believe that everyone, like I say, should have the right to believe in whatever they believe in, but the minute that belief is calling for violence, misinformation that is actually detrimental to someone's existence, or going against someone's rights, then that is personally what I think humanity should step in. So for example, the extreme right in both this country, mostly in America though, feel like it's their right to have abortion be banned, and also have the right to be against gay marriage, and the religious would have been the community that was actually fighting for against the right for me to get married. So situations like that, I believe that they shouldn't have the right, and I'm glad that they didn't. So my particular spiritual experience and my spiritual practice is witchcraft. I'm an eclectic witch, which basically means that I don't have a particular practice that has been handed down from a certain coven or a certain practice itself. 90% of what I do is made up. I create it myself. I'm very I call myself stupidly creative. Like, the only thing that I do creative within a practice is jewellery making. And other little bits and bobs, but something that's proper creative is jewellery for me. Where the witchcraft, even though I've made it up and I like to think what I've made up makes sense, because I've made it up, obviously it's very personal to me. I do follow the specific pagan and witchcraft law, which is very simple, basic, humanitarian law, compared to like religious texts. So I do follow them, and I've actually agreed with them even before I realised that you could be a witch. I believe that everyone is born with a specific spiritual energy that they will gravitate towards to more than others, and some people are just born with a block, and that's fine. And that would be the agnostic atheists that have like gone through from when they were born to from when they died, literally have no faith. Like I say, that it's fine. Spirituality to me is the feeling of connection to something that is not of our kind, so human beings. So that can be anything from seeing fairies, practicing witchcraft, having a connection to higher power, connecting to nature, having an experience with the spirit world. Like, if you don't practice a spirituality but at the same time you have had experiences with spirits, you see them, hear them, feel them in your house or in other places, to me that is a form of spirituality, just a different form. So, like I say, I am an eclectic witch, which basically means that I'm a witch that has a practice that is either made up or I take bits from other sides of witchcraft. Witchcraft is a very umbrella open term. There's like Gardnerian, Alexandrian witchcraft, there is Celtic witchcraft, there's loads, literally. I could like cite them all if I knew all of the names. So every now and then I'll take certain traditions or certain practices and take them into my own, but then I'll tweak them to make it into my own. I believe that I was born with the audacity and the complexity to be a witch, because ever since I can remember, I've always loved witchcraft and witches itself on TV, in media, and in general. I always say that witches was the first feminist that was one of the first feminists to walk the earth. Because if you think about a witch, it's someone who people are fearful of, especially men. And it's a woman that can't be held down, a woman that has power, that is unlike human-like, that can be scared of. To me, that is what a strong woman is, and that is feminism. So I've always had a close connection with old school feminism, where I've always liked the vibe of women. I've always had women around me all my life, whether it's friends, family, and I generally think that women should have the right to do whatever they want, and have equal opportunities to men. So I feel like that's one of the reasons why I was gravitated towards witches, because to me they are the original feminists in the world. Also, I just used to really like watching witches on TV shows. Like, I would watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch, I would watch Charmed, I would watch Wizards of Waverly Place, which is slightly different but quite similar. And I would watch these TV shows and really get into them. I used to pretend that I was a witch when I was a kid. I would like make potions, I would cast spells, and I'd make up my own like rhyming couplets and fumbles. So I really felt it at the time, and I've always had experiences with like the spirit world since I was a kid. So I've always been connected to the earth, and I've always been connected to witchcraft since I was a kid. But I didn't know that you could be a proper witch until I got into a conversation with my mum's sister, so my auntie, who is kind of a witch as well. I don't think she would call herself that, but practice-wise, she is a witch. And we got talking about spirituality one time, I think when I was in school, and We just spoke about spirituality one time, and she mentioned that she has a pagan witchcraft practice, and obviously I was like, wait, you can be a witch in real life? Then she told me a little bit about it, and then I did my own research, and then I was like, ooh, I like the fact that you can be a real witch. Obviously it's not like what you see in TV, where a witch can conjure up a fireball and throw it. That's Hollywood. And that's something that people have to realise, that magic does exist, but it's not what we see on TV. Hollywood magic and real life magic is very different. That's something that I've had to learn, something that I've had to get used to, and something that I know is real because I've seen magic before, but like I say, it's just not within our perception. So, like I say, I've experienced spirits before. I see things in my room and in my surroundings in the dark, which are like glowing lights. I've been told by people that they are most likely angelic, I think they said angelic portals. I've not done much research into it, so I can't say for certain. I've definitely felt things stroke me or touch me before that aren't there. I believe that I have seen some kind of mythical creatures called fae. I might do a different video about the different mythical creatures that could be real, like faes, which is similar to fairies, but it's not our conception as fairies at all. Like I say, if anyone's interested, or I might just do it anyway, I'll do a video about that. So all of this has made me much more an open person, being into witchcraft. It's made me actually listen to some of what religious people say. Because before, even if they weren't spouting hate, I just really wouldn't give religious people any time because of my cult trauma. Where now that I've got into witchcraft, it's actually made me listen and be a lot more open-minded to people that I wouldn't really have listened to. So, yeah, I think that witchcraft is a very good thing for my mindset, my psyche, and the fact that it's rooted in nature, because that's what witchcraft is. It's a belief and a practice that has a connection with nature, water, fire, earth and air. I feel very connected to the earth and the air specifically, but I have a connection with all four as well to a specific extent. So, like I say, I'm not trying to convert anyone, I'm not trying to say mine is the best, because like I say, everyone is born with a spiritual capacity. Some people are born with none, and that's fine. Some people are born with a different one than me, and that's also fine. Like I say, when I got into witchcraft, it actually made me look within my soul. more. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm still a human being. Human beings are driven by ego a lot of the time, and the ego is a very fake thing where it's like, I need to pretend to be someone I'm not to get validation, or I need to wear things that look like I'm worth more than what I think I am. And that is completely an ego-driven thing that is very fake and very toxic if you listen to that all the time. And if you listen to your soul is connected to your heart, and your soul is all about making you and other people's lives happy. It's all about connecting to whatever makes you happy, whether that is spirituality or love of your family. Your soul is a non-judgmental thing. As long as you are not causing harm to anyone, as long as the other people aren't doing it to you, the soul is all about love and connection, which to me is a very beautiful thing. So, another thing that I practice within my witchcraft is that I am into spellcraft, basically creating spells. So it might be surprising for anyone to hear this, but a lot of witches don't actually do spell work. Some do, and obviously, like I say, I am one of them witches. But a lot of witches don't actually do spell work. I personally do, because it naturally transformed itself, because I used to write poetry all the time when I was in primary and senior. It was my way of being creative and connecting with my emotions and expressing my emotions. So naturally, when I got into witchcraft, my poems automatically changed into spells. When I wasn't really thinking about it. So I think because I written poetry, it just transitioned into spellcraft and spells. So I personally think it's a good thing for people to be open-minded in general and listen to people, because I think naturally as a human race, we tend to gravitate towards people that believe and think the same thing that we do. And that is a bad thing, solely because we are in an echo chamber. And when you're in an echo chamber, you can't grow as a human being. So I'm not saying that you have to agree with everyone, because that is another form of fakeness. But just simply listening can help you grow as a person. Like, I'm friends with a lot of people that think and feel differently to me, and I'm still friends with them because I see that as a good thing. I wish that everyone had more patience to listen. And I found, like I say, that it's this spiritual journey of mine has made me a better person when it comes to how I think inwardly and not outwardly. And it's made me look within and think to myself, myself and I are more than capable and more than enough to live a better life, and I don't need anyone to tell me otherwise. So that is something that I wanted to say, and that is why I actually preach for some form of community that is non-cultish when it comes to political affiliation, whether it's the extreme left or the extreme right, because a lot of it is to do with wanting a community and finding people that will agree with you. But because it's a cult, they'll lock you in, and if you think any differently, they'll call you up on it. Where spiritual growth within yourself, whether it's higher power, love for yourself, love for your family, that is a you thing. So it's made me feel less alone, which I love. I still struggle with loneliness, just like most people do, especially Gen Z, but it's made me feel more at home. and that is something that I would preach to anyone, to look within and to find the spiritual path, even if it's nothing to do with higher sorts. So I think I've said everything I need to say. I noticed that there's a viewer. Just wanted to say hi to the viewer. I think, like I say, I've said everything I need to say. Can't really think of anything else that I've experienced. I haven't gone fully into depth about what I've experienced, so I might do a separate video to do with specifically what I've experienced, like spirits, mythical creatures, what I've heard, seen and felt, my weird dreams that I've had that are quite psychic-y. So I might do that sometime soon. I might wait a bit, but I'll keep you informed. So I hope you guys have a blessed day. Love yourself, love your mind, love your heart, love your body, love your soul, love your opinions, love what got you here, love the world, love nature. Peace out.